My name is Joe Manuel. Welcome to the third annual trip to Carlisle, Pennsylvania, sponsored by the Knights of Columbus, St. Columkille, Chapter 5317 of Oxon Hill. This trip was chaired by my brother, Frank Manuel. Frank, would you tell us a little bit about how you got started on this?
I'd be glad to, Joe. Thank you for the introduction. This is our third trip up to Carlisle, Pennsylvania, but this must be about my 28th or 29th trip. I started off taking a few boys each year, and every year I had requests from boys that they wanted to go, and my car only held 4 or 5 more, so it's grown into a bus load. This year we have 48 people going, and most of them are 40 kids, between 8 and 18, and they thoroughly enjoy this. We're taking off from St. Ignatius parking lot this year, and from here we're going to go up to Ebensburg, Maryland, and Mount St. Mary's, and have the boys stop there and see the shrine, and we'll be stretching and maybe have a few snacks and a few cold drinks. So we're on our way now to Mount St. Mary's in Maryland. Get a couple of strong young men. I bet it, buddy, you look strong to me. I don't know your name. Yeah, help lift that pool out of there.
Billy's friend, you're a big boy. Okay, he's gonna get it, that's okay.
It's heavy. You never look like a boy, believe me. No, you won't either.
Frank, how long have you been doing this?
Oh, I've been going up to Carlisle since I've been going there. But this is my third year with all the boys. Every year we'd take a bunch up. It got bigger and bigger. I couldn't take more than, 4 or 5, so now we're taking 45. I wanted to take Father, but Father will never go. He's a big red.
One of these days.
Okay, Father, there's another time coming up. I want to interject a little something. I'm getting a bad reputation since I started this trip, because it seems like not only boys want to go, girls want to go, their mothers want to go, and they call me a male chauvinist, and some of them add pig. So who knows, maybe in the future we will bring some girls. But as of now, I think it's more of a man's sport, and boys are interested in it. So this is why I've held it to just boys, and I try to keep them within the age of 8 and 18. And I'm finding out this works pretty good.
One of the real things that we're really proud of in our council is that during the month of October, we collect for the retarded children of the state of Maryland. And we're really proud that in 2 years, we've collected more money in our chapter than any other council in the whole state. So we're real proud of that. So to get on with the festivities, I want to introduce the man that started this trip, Frank Manuel.
I just hope it's a nice, safe, and successful trip. Now, we'd like to introduce you to Father Warmer of St. Ignatius Parish. He'd like to give us a little blessing before we leave on this trip.
Thank you, Frank. We are, first of all, very grateful to St. Columkille Council of the Knights for organizing this trip. We ask Almighty God to bless all of those who are going with us on this journey today, bring them all back safe, and also bless the Redskins in this coming season. And who knows, maybe among us here today, there might be a future Redskin. Let's pray for that too. God bless you all.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you, Father. And I want to just make a little comment. Every year I have the privilege of giving Father Warmer a schedule of the Redskins, and it's a little joke between him and I that he needs a schedule when he makes up the schedule for Masses during football season. Some reason he's never at the late Mass, and I'll let it go at that. So this concludes the beginning of our trip, and we're going to have a great day. So one more time, where are the Redskins going, fellas? To the Super Bowl! Okay, let's head for the bus. Thank you.
Thank you.
touchdown, let the points soar. Fight on, till you have won, sons of Washington.
Get ready for a heart-pounding motion picture experience.
The bus that we have is pretty luxurious. It has 2 televisions. You can see films. And I know there's going to be a lot of snacks on the trip, so I think it's going to be a very enjoyable trip for the boys. It's going to be something that they'll probably remember all their life, because not too many kids this age get to take a trip like this. And we're hoping that we can make it nice for them. And it's our way of being members of the community and an organization that likes to help and promote youth. And I think that they're going to enjoy the trip up to Emmitsburg. It's Mount St. Mary's, and it's one of the oldest shrines in America. It's the shrine of Mother Seton. And I think this is something that they would be interested in. And we've been up there many times, and every time we go up there, we always enjoy it, don't we, Frank?
We sure do, Joe.
Come here, John.
You guys.
Hey, look, Jeff. There's a beautiful shot of the plaque there. You want to break your camera?
Frank, where are we right now?
This is Mount St. Mary's. It's Emmitsburg, Maryland. This is, did you hear what my brother said on the bus?
The first site that Mother Seton seen. She is the first American saint canonized. And this is a statue up here.
And this is the oldest grotto in the United States.
The oldest.
You have your own side what you want to eat it. Feel free to eat it. And if you can't eat it all, see Mr. Leo McDonald. He'll help you.
Here we are in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, the summer home of the Washington Redskins and the home of Dickinson College. And we've been fortunate enough that the Redskin organization, I believe Frank's going to take us in, show us some highlight films.
After we see this film, we'll be on our way to the stadium, and the boys will be getting into the stands, and then we'll have some interviews with them.
You know, a lot of these boys have aspirations of being football stars. They all want to be quarterbacks or wide receivers, and they want to make some of this big money and be a $6 million man. We might have a young boy on our trip that could be a $12 million man.
Well, we do have 4 boys from the Bishop McNamara High School football team.
I know those big boys.
And one of the young men has been coming up to Carlisle with me for 3 years. And in the 3 years, there's been a big change in his body.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Looks like he could go out and play with practice with the Redskins today.
These are some of the fellows that we board up, and I want to get their reaction. What's your name, son?
Sean Watson.
And what do you like so far, what you've seen?
Well, the Redskins really seem tough this year, and I think we'll make it to the Super Bowl and win again.
That's great. If you was going in for football, what would you like to play?
I'd probably like to play a linebacker.
Okay, thank you. What's your name, son?
Andrew Merkel.
Andrew Merkel. How do you like things so far?
Well, they look pretty good.
If you was to be a football player, what would you want to go out for?
Cornerback.
Who's your favorite football player?
Art Monk.
Okay, thank you. Hey, how do you like practice so far, son?
It's pretty good.
And if you was coming out for a team, what would you like to try out for?
Either tight end or quarterback.
Who's your favorite football player?
Clint Didier.
Okay, great. How about you? What do you like so far? Do you like the practice that they're having?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a favorite ball player?
Doug Williams.
Okay, thanks. And what do you like so far?
I like watching the practice and everything.
And who's your favorite ball player?
Art Monk.
What would you like to be in a football team?
Wide receiver.
A wide receiver, okay. What about you fellas up there? What would you like to be if you was playing football?
Tackle.
Tackle? Have you enjoyed it so far?
Yeah, it's great.
What about you, son?
I would like to be a quarterback.
There's a future quarterback up there. And that's some of the boys that come up that really having a good time and enjoying themselves from St. Columkille Council.
Some of these little fellows, they have dreams of being the one like Doug Williams and Doug Strader, but everybody can be a great football player. They'll have other careers to follow. Let's hope they do good in anything they follow.
You know, We got a lot of great footage to see about the practice that they have, and I've been really watching Doug Williams work out. And you know, they talk about his legs. Doug Williams has been around the league quite a while, and he looks pretty good from the last year. We have Doug Williams, the most valuable player from the Super Bowl 22, and he played a terrific game. And I'm not going to ask you all these standard questions on how your leg is, because I seen you out there, and I think your leg's in great shape. And for a man that's been around quite a while, how do you feel coming into this season, Doug?
Well, I feel pretty good, but you know, training camp is training camp, and you got to get used to it. And you just got to get yourself back into the groove. And now we've been here going on 2 weeks now. I'm in the groove, and we just got to go it on from here.
Oh, Mark tackle again. 390. 390.
You know, a lot of these young children, kids that we bring up here, boys, they think it's all glory and all, but watching these fellas at training camp, especially two-a-days, it's pretty gruesome. They have to do a lot of calisthenics, a lot of running, and it's not all physical. It's a lot of mental things that they have to learn. So it's pretty tough on a rookie coming in to a world championship team and trying to get a job.
Hard yellow. Good. Right there. Any questions? Good. Right there. Right, that's me.
And as you can see, some of these big players, these big linemen, will lose 15 or 20 pounds a day in this workout in this tremendous heat up here.
Well, I know you probably have noticed this since we've been coming up years ago. It seems like everybody's bigger and faster.
I don't know what they're taking, but if they're not 6'7" and 8 and weigh close to 300 pounds, it can't be a football player, it looks like. But there's always room for the little guy if he's good.
And I noticed this one fella that everybody's talking about. He was a Redskins high draft choice, Chip Lowmiller. He kicks that ball a long way. What do you think of those?
I think Chip Lowmiller is probably the kicker of the future for the Redskins.
And the workouts have really been tremendous. We've been fortunate enough to see him do calisthenics and the drills, the passing drills. We've been seeing some good kicking, and we got some great interviews that have come up. We were very fortunate that the Redskins allow us to talk to people like Joe Gibbs, which is very gracious. And Joe Gibbs, to me, is one of my favorite people. Every time I see him, I'm in awe. I think he's a great human being, even if he wasn't a winning Redskin coach. I think he goes out to the people. He's one of the few coaches I've seen in training camp. It takes his time, talks to the kids, talks to the people. He doesn't try to elude anybody. Right now, the press is being interviewing Joe Gibbs, but we have a picture here that we like to show you. Very seldom you see an NFL coach. This was during the Minnesota game, the championship game, and very seldom you see a coach praying. And I think this is a great picture. And I don't think I've ever seen a pro coach kneeling and praying. I guess it comes a time when a coach as great as you needs a little help too, right?
Well, actually, I don't think a lot of people misunderstood that. You know, I wasn't praying for a victory here. I wasn't praying for us to score a touchdown. Really, what I was praying about was just strength. I think everybody was exhausted at that point. I was praying for strength no matter what happened. If we didn't make it, to make the right decisions and go on from there and coach the rest of the game. And so I think a lot of people misunderstood that.
Okay, well, I think it's a great picture, and I want to wish you all the luck in the world for another season. And we thank you for the time that you spent last year with the boys that we brought up from the Knights of Columbus. I know you are interested in that type of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Well, the boys are what it's all about, really, our young people. So I appreciate y'all's work with them, too.
Well, we want to congratulate you on being an outstanding coach, and I think you're one of the greatest coaches the Redskins have ever had. Thank you very much for the interview.
Thank you. That's good company. Thank y'all.
Just want to ask you how you feel.
Okay.
You're having a good season right now, training camp. I know you're an old vet.
Everything's going well so far.
Good, and you're free of any injuries and all right now?
Well, I have a little sprained ankle right now, but I'll just be out for a couple of days.
How do you look at this season coming up after last year going to the Super Bowl and having a great year? How do you look at this year as a challenge for you?
Well, it's always a challenge. You know, it's even more so now that we won the Super Bowl. Everyone's going to be shooting for us. So, you know, we have a hard schedule also, so we know it's not going to be easy, but we're up to it.
One last question. What do you think of all these great young receivers that are coming behind you, and each year you're getting a little older? How do you feel about that situation?
Well, I feel good. The young guys keep me on my toes. They keep me going. And the competition is really what
keeps you going, really.
Okay.
And you know, the guys coming up now, they're much faster, stronger, and so I take it as a challenge. It keeps me going.
Okay, well, we want to thank you for the interview and congratulations on last year. Thank you very much.
Would you sign this card for me to the Super Bowl with it?
Congratulations on a fine season last year in the Super Bowl.
Would you sign this for me, please?
I'm not Joe.
Jeff. That's Joe.
While Jeff is signing this autograph, last year I interviewed you at the same time, and the decision came out that you were going to be maybe a backup. And here you went into the Super Bowl playing first string. How do you feel about that whole last year and the way things turned out?
Well, everything turned out well. I wasn't exactly pleased with the way it started, but I tried to be as big a team player as I could, and once I got the opportunity to play again, I think everything worked out.
Well, I want to congratulate you on a fine season. I know you're tired. Thank you very much for the interview.
Thank you.
Jeff,
Would you sign this before you start? Would you please, sir? That's a Super Bowl victory. I'm sorry, that's the point you first. Do you sign your checks that way?
No. This is Jay Schrader. And Jay, how do you feel coming into this camp?
Oh, I feel good. I'm ready to go. You know, I worked hard this offseason. It's just a matter now of just relaxing and playing the game.
Okay. How's your mental outlook? Do you have everything upstairs settled?
Oh, there was never any problem. You know, I'm a competitor and I'm going to compete. And, you know, when I don't get the opportunity to compete, I'm going to be upset about it. And, you know, because that's my job. So, you know, a lot of people look at it differently. Hey, I'm going to get upset again if I don't get a chance to compete, but that's just the way I am. You know, I'm here to compete, and I want that opportunity.
Well, I think with all your ability and all that you showed in the past and what you did for the Redskins, I think if you come into this camp and just show, like you said, your best, that the best man is going to win the job. Is that correct?
Well, that's all I'm doing. I'm coming in here and playing the game the way I can play the game, and we'll go from there.
Okay, well, I want to congratulate you on the fine season you had last year, and I hope you have a real good season this year. Thank you for the interview.
Thank you.
Bye. I interviewed you last year, and you said every year was getting a little harder. Well, last year you had one of the greatest years you possibly could ever have. I think injury-free and played terrific. How do you feel this year? I know you're puffing right now.
I feel even worse than I did last year. So if that's an indication how the season's going to be, I'm going to have a great season this year. But it's getting harder. It's my 10th year, 10th training camp. And it is getting harder, you know, the age is starting to take effect. Got the young guys, it's hard to keep this old man to keep up with the young guys now.
How do you feel like playing with the $6 million man, Mr. Marshall? Does that help you any?
It helps out a whole lot. It helps out two ways. Hopefully some of the offense will start isolating on him and start taking him out of it. And hopefully it'll open me up for some plays. Plus, with his notoriety, hopefully it can bring some more notoriety to our linebacking core that I think is well overdue.
Okay, well, thank you for the interview, and I hope you have another terrific season.
Thank you very much.
All right. I know you're in a hurry to get in and take a shower, and you have to do a job with Sonny Jurgensen and Glenn Brenner. I want to congratulate you on the great game that you played in the Super Bowl, and I hope you have another great season. My one question is, how do you feel with Wilbur Marshall and Dexter when he comes back on that right side and all those quarterbacks running for their life over towards you?
Well, I feel like I have more sacks this year. That's the bottom line. And if I don't, I'm going to get on one of them.
Okay. Well, I'm going to keep to my one question, and I want to wish you a good season.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
This is the quarterback for the Redskins who's been on injured reserve for 2 years. And I understand he says this year he's not going to be on injured reserve. Can you tell us how you feel about this?
Well, you know, I think when you look back on being on injured reserve or not, if you're injured, you know, you got to be on injured reserve. There's nothing you can do. But as far as wanting a chance to help the Redskins out in any way, I think that's what I'm looking for. I want to, you know, be a part of this team and feel like, you know, I can help in any way.
How do you feel physically? I saw you on the drills last Saturday. You look real sharp.
Yeah, I did. That's what my basic concern right now is to be consistent in any shot that I get. Scrimmages are real important. Preseason games are even more. But you know, I try to work hard in the practices here and get my game into a position where, you know, I can be consistent and play well.
Well, the Redskins really have, I guess, a delightful dilemma where they have so many plenty, 3 really good young quarterbacks and an aging veteran, so I guess this is a good situation for you to be in, right?
Well, it is. I think that's one of the reasons why they're such a good organization is every position, they have guys battling for that number 1 spot, and the more competition, the better a team's going to be, and I think that's a key, and having 4 good quarterbacks we do here is, really not a big problem for Coach Gibbs, and, it's just a problem of who you're going to play and at what time.
Well, we want to wish you all the luck in the world this year and hope you make it the starting position. Thank you very much for the interview.
Thank you very much.
On our way, hopefully, up to the stands with Jess Axon and Chip Low Miller, and hopefully we'll get Chuck Banneker. And I see he's coming over here now with a smile on his face. Everybody's talking about him. This is Chip Lowmiller, is that correct?
Yep, you got it.
And I tell you the truth, you don't look like a kicker. You look like maybe a big quarterback or somebody on a line. Have you always been this big?
Yeah, through high school I played wide receiver, quarterback, and strong safety, so I didn't always be a kicker, so I've always done a lot of other things other than this position.
I know one thing from reading the papers, you can hit a golf ball pretty long ways. I wish you'd give me a few tips afterwards.
Yeah, I grew up with my grandma playing golf. She used to be on the tour, the senior tour and stuff, and she taught me how to play golf, so I've been playing since I was about 6.
And you say your grandmother taught you?
Yeah.
She didn't teach you to kick too, did she?
No, she didn't.
Okay. I was privileged to get a shot of you and Jess Axon about 2 hours ago with a little horseplay going on, and y'all would look like you're having a big brawl there. And it's really great to see 2 guys competing for the same position and the way you all feel about this. What is your thoughts on that?
Well, they're both Ollie and Jess are great guys, but we're out here to get a job. But whoever gets a job, congratulations and good luck. But we're having fun, competing for the job.
How did you feel when you were drafted by the Redskins and drafted that high? Did that surprise you?
Yeah, I was surprised to be drafted in the 2nd round. I was here in maybe 3rd or 4th round, but I was very surprised to come to this organization, and it's a great organization. They're very personable with one another, and they're great people.
Well, what do you do? Because seeing you kick, you have an awful strong leg. Do you do anything special exercises for your legs, or were you just naturally born with this gift?
No, I did a lot of weight training in the off season and ran a lot, and just kicking a lot built up my strength.
How do you like? I know you probably haven't seen too much of it because you've been up in Carlisle, but you think you're going to enjoy the Washington area?
Yeah, I was down there for about a month and a half during the summer, and I liked it, so I think I'll adjust and like it pretty much.
Are you settled in?
No, I'm not yet.
Have you encountered any of these precious situations in college where they play for 59 minutes and then it comes down to one play and you're the kicker to decide it?
Yeah, I beat Michigan my junior year in the last second. I beat Indiana, Wisconsin, and a couple other teams.
And I understand you play out in bad weather, right?
We play up in the Big Ten, yeah, cold and rain.
Okay.
But we play at home in the dome.
Okay, well, what about the adjustment from college and with a tee and coming into the pros on grass?
Well, I used a 1/4 inch block for field goals when I was in college, so the adjustment didn't take very long.
Okay, and after this interview, I think that you're going to come up the stands with you and Jeff, and maybe we can get a couple of shots of you all choking each other maybe, but no, Kinley, we're going to get the coach up there, Chuck Banneker. He said he'd be up there, and we have some boys from the Knights of Columbus, and maybe they can get some autographs, and they can ask some questions, and we really appreciate, I know you had a hard day's work, that you're going to take this time out doing this, so lots of luck on the upcoming season.
Thanks a lot.
And I hope you get through injury-free and everything turns out all right for you.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, we have Timmy Smith here, one of the stars of the great Super Bowl 22. Timmy, I want to ask you, how do you feel after, that game last year? You were a rookie, and all of a sudden you're setting a record in the Super Bowl. How did you manage to handle all of this after this was over?
Well, I think I handled it pretty well. I got to celebrate for it, for 2 weeks, and I came back up here in Virginia and started back to work. I thought, the Super Bowl was over with now. I done had my glory, and, it's time to go back to work.
Okay, now that George Rogers is no longer here, and you undoubtedly are the #1 man that's starting out, do you feel any extra added pressure on you?
Well, I think, there's pressure because, the coaches and my teammates is depending on me to get the first down, make the big plays, and that's something, I worked hard to get the starting spot, so I got to take advantage of it.
Do you feel like, you know, a 16 game is a long season and hopefully no injuries occur to you? Are you going to have to be in tip-top shape to go through all this? Do you think you'll be able to handle it? Because you're not considered a premier, probably big back that they have in the NFL.
Well, I think, yeah, it's really going to be tough to go 16 games. I think as long as I stay in shape and keep working out with Dan Riley, I'll be all right to carry us for 16 games.
Okay, Tim, we want to wish you all the luck in the world and hope you have a good season this year.
Right,
thank you very much for the interview. This is Mark Mosley, ex-Redskin player. And Mark, may have lost a little time, but has it been 3 years now that you've been retired, or can you correct me on that?
Well, this is my second year. Last year was my first year out of the league, and I'm just getting started for my second season of not being around football. As a matter of fact, this is my first time since I retired to come up here to Carlisle and watch camp. It was tough last year, so I didn't really feel like doing it.
Well, could you tell us, you know, exactly how you feel? It must be kind of an eerie experience for you, you know, this first time since you haven't been a Redskins. How are your feelings on that right now?
Well, I guess in a way you kind of feel left out. You want to still, I guess your mind and body are always with the team, and you want to be a part of it because you were part of it for so long. For me especially, you know, having spent 14 years up here in Washington, it makes it kind of difficult just to walk away from it overnight and forget about it. You just don't put it behind you that easily. But I've been able to adjust. I've still got an awful lot of fans that are out there that still remember me, and you know, I guess the hardest part is not being able to go out there and compete. And that was my greatest attribute, was my ability to go out and compete on a daily basis, and I do miss that.
Well, you know, I guess all your life spent in football, it is probably a real tough adjustment. But I guess in your case, in a way, you've probably been prepared for this, because I know you do have some business ventures. Would you like to tell us a little bit about them?
Well, I do, and fortunately, yes, you're right. I did try to prepare myself for the future. I have a couple of businesses. My biggest business is my travel business. I have 5 offices now in the Washington area, and I also have a business that we sell jacuzzi spas and bathtubs and sunrooms, and you name it, we probably sell it if it goes in a home. And then I've got my little French fry business that my wife and I have out at Potomac Mills, and I've got Western Store. So I've got a lot of things that I'm into. It's just a matter of which one is going to make me a living so I can support my family.
I see. Well, that's good. You're in a lot of business enterprises. I'd like to ask you, have you seen this new fella that the Redskins drafted first and second round, Chip Low-Miller?
I have not really had an opportunity to watch him kick. I've talked to a number of the coaches about him, and you know, I've just that's one of the reasons I came down today, is I wanted to watch them kick and just see how they're doing, and out of curiosity more than anything. And I tell you, it's going to be tough. It has been tough ever since I left. You know, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but you know, to follow someone who was in a city as long as I was, to come in and have to take over and do what I did, it's going to be tough, and it's going to be hard for someone mentally to be able to live up to that. And I hope that the fans will back this kid, or whoever their kicker is going to be, and try to give them all the support that they can, because they're going to need it. And you know, I'm retired now, and I'm happily retired. I miss not kicking, but at the same time, I'm still a Redskin fan, and I think they've got to have a good kicker, and I know they're going to be whoever does the kicking is going to do a good job for them, and they need the fans behind them.
Okay, well, Mark, I'd like to say one thing. I don't think any of the Redskins fans are ever going to forget you, because I've seen every game you ever played in, and you cause a lot of excitement and thrills. And I want to thank you for this interview, and I hope any venture that you take is a success. Have you ever gave it any thought of maybe being a kicking coach?
No. As a matter of fact, I had a couple of one of the coaches here, Coach Gibbs and Paul Lanham, had talked to him a little bit about possibly helping their kickers here. But I've just, if they call me to do some help, to come up and help them, I'd be more than happy to. But other than that, I've got too many things going in my businesses right now, so I've got to try to make a living that way.
Well, that's great. And thanks a lot for the interview, and lots of luck in your future successes.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Right. Okay, we've been really fortunate to get Jess Axon up here, because he's really tired. He just got through lifting weights, and not too many ball players to do this. All the other ball players are going. We're the only one here at Carlisle Field, and I told him he didn't have to come up to do this interview, but he said he did, because I tell you why. He comes from the Camp Spring, Temple Hills area, He knows we're from here, and he's in professional football. He could have just easily said no, so he's a good role model, I think, for kids coming up. And I want him to maybe say a few words to the kids here, what it takes to be an athlete. I mean, a few years ago, and not too long ago, he was your age. So maybe he can tell us and give you all some advice on what you should do for athletics.
It takes a lot of luck, but also, by the same token, you don't get that luck without a lot of hard work, and that's why I kind of try to get in the weight room after the practices and do a little bit extra. But I tell you what, when this group comes up, from back in my hometown, it always lifts my spirits a little bit and always kick a little bit better and always keeps me going through the week. I tell you what, kids, you don't know, really does me a lot of good to see you guys come up here.
Well, we appreciate you saying those and saying those words, and really these kids are pulling for you because they know that you come from our area. And I want to say something I said to you previously, I like to repeat. I like the way that you're handling this whole situation with the kicking. I haven't seen anything negative from you in the press. I know you're up against a lot of stiff competition. And maybe you can tell these boys that you just don't come to camp and the job is yours. You got to compete every year. It's probably in this situation you're in right now, you probably could very easily give up, but you're coming out here trying. Is that true?
Yeah, fighting that battle is really the most important part of it. Especially with a kicker, there's only one guy that's going to come out on top. Doesn't mean the rest of the kickers aren't good. I tell you, when I was a kid playing Camp Springs football, you learn a lot more from the times you get beat than the times where you come out on top. And that's why it's important that maybe if you're not the front runner for the job, you always keep trying to plug no matter how bleak it looks, because they can't take that hope from you. And that's really what it's all about, is coming out here and trying to get better every single day.
In other words, you tell them to just keep trying no matter what size they are and lead a good, clean life and just work hard, right?
I tell you, it takes a lot to know you're on the outside and keep working just as if it was your job. And with these kids, they're going to get a lot of setbacks as they kind of follow their dreams. And it's not always easy, and there are always going to be times when you don't feel like going on, but you got to, because you can't get to the other side if you don't.
Well, I know you're in a tough situation and you're tired, and I don't like to go out on a limb, but I'm going to make a little prediction. I know you're going to give it its best shot and 110%, but if you don't make it by chance, and that's a but I'm putting in there, I think that we're going to see you somewheres in the NFL.
I'm looking for you to start a team so I could be a kicker.
No, I think somewheres down the road you're going to be kicking for somebody because you got too much talent and you proved it. And if it wasn't for that fluke injury last year, you probably would have had a tremendous season. And I'm not going to put you on the spot anymore. I'm going to let some of these little guys really shoot some questions, and they got some good questions. So, you know, they've been noisy on the bus. They've I think they've drank 2 gallons of Coke. I don't know how much food they consume. Right. We're going to a place where you can eat all you want. And
you guys got a mate. I might come home with you guys.
They're in pretty good shape. So does any one of the fellows want to ask a question to Jeff? Okay, we got somebody back here. What's your name, son?
Jamie Hammer.
Ask this question.
When did you start playing football?
I started playing football when I was in 5th grade in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Then I moved here. And that same year and played football for Camp Springs Boys Club. 85 pound was my first year. Under Sam Sadler, 85 pound.
85 pounds, and how many years ago was that roughly?
He can ask those kind of questions, huh? I think you were going to put me on the spot.
Well, I didn't mean to. When you get my age, I shouldn't talk about age.
That must have been 18 years, or no, 16 years ago. 16
years ago, when he was 85 pounds, he was like y'all, and look where he's at now. He's playing with the Washington Redskins. So we have a question with the fellow right here. What is your name, son?
Seth Blanford.
And what would you like to ask him?
Have you ever played any other sports besides football?
I played soccer in high school and junior high school. I played my last 2 years. I played football from, I guess, 5th grade to 9th grade. And then I played soccer from 8th grade to 12th grade. So I played soccer and football the same year, 1 year.
Okay, we have another question down here. What's your name, son?
Patrick Kenny.
What would you like to ask him?
When did you decide you wanted to play professional football?
That was, what happened was I played soccer in high school, and then I tried out to walk on to the Maryland soccer team. And then I was cut by the soccer team, so I figured I might as well try it for football too, make it a go of it. and I ended up making the football team. And it wasn't just from when you're age I wanted to play, but I was never that close. It's something that you got to take year by year and try to get better all the time.
Give you a scholarship on that one?
Only after I made the football team. Then in the third game, Coach Claiborne waited till we won a game first, till he gave me one.
Okay, we have a question here from Matthew Pathenza. What would you like to ask, Matthew?
When you were younger, did you think you were going to be a professional football player?
I was probably like you guys. I hoped I would. I used to go out in the backyard, and I was always the Miami Dolphins, though, whenever I was pretending. So I used to go out in the backyard, throw it around, kick it around a little bit, and I enjoyed playing sports from when I was probably your age.
When you say you thought you were a Miami Dolphin, was Carl Upinian your idol?
No, he was a little bit too weird to be my idol. You gotta watch out for those kickers.
Well, he might have been weird, but he's making a lot of money with those weird ties he sells. The thing is, did you have some sort of person that maybe you patterned yourself after, a kicker?
Gosh, not a kicker, because I only started kicking, to be quite honest with you, when I was 19 years old. Was the first year I started kicking. I used to like, who are my favorites? Paul Warfield and Larry Zonka. Bob Greasy was a favorite. Guys like that.
Okay. Any more questions? Here's a question here.
My name's Scott Webster. Did you play any positions except for kicker when you were small?
Back when I was playing in college, I just played kicker because I was too small. But before that, I was a linebacker and a fullback, and I was an offensive guard. Still small, but still like to mix it up a little bit.
I can attest to that because everybody forgot this, but I brought it to his attention. He threw a block one time, believe it or not. A kick was blocked, and he went right in there and mixed it up, and he threw a block and it got right.
Yeah, I took my shot. I got that little one-bar mass, so it makes it kind of dangerous throwing blocks.
We have another question, son.
Yeah, what position did you play in soccer?
Center forward.
Center forward.
Couldn't dribble, I couldn't pass, all I could do was shoot. So I figured they pay you for that in kicking football, so I might as well give it a try.
Okay, we have a little guy up here, used to like Joe Theismann. Would you like to answer the question? Okay, you want an autograph?
Who were your coaches when you played football?
I played under Coach Jerry Claiborne and Bobby Ross were my two college coaches. Both of them did a lot for me, really helped me out, took me under their wing, and was real patient with me and gave me a lot of confidence.
I know this question's been asked a lot, but I just want to ask it one time. How is your leg right now, like percentage-wise? Is it 50%, or do you think it's up to 100%?
It's pretty close to 100. I need to get through all these two-a-days and get it a little bit stronger and just get used to kicking all the time again, because it's been a while since I kicked every single day. It's probably been about a year since I kicked every single day.
Okay, I want to ask you this one last question. I saw something up here, and I took a couple of pictures that you and Chip Lowmiller was a little horseplay going on, and y'all were grabbing each other by the collar and all. I thought that was really great to see two guys competing for a job. You probably just met him just recently. Yeah. How do you look at that?
Chip's a good kid. You really, just because you're going for the same jobs, no reason not to get along and be friends, because we're all after the same thing. So you don't wish bad on anybody else. You don't pull that they'll go in the dumpster. You try to, deal with them like you would anybody else. It's not so much we're out there competing for the same job, but there's a lot other things to life than just football.
Okay, we got two last questions, and then we have to let them go. Go ahead, son.
When you played soccer center forward, did you play like every quarter, or was somebody else play center too?
Played all the time. Played all the time.
One more question.
Could run a lot farther than.
Say I wanted to become a kicker in football. What would I have to do to gain that position?
Oh gosh, a lot of people come up through soccer now, but by the same token, more and more are starting to come up from playing football. Work hard, get out there on your own. Okay. Get out there on your own and just do it. I used to do it when up in the park. We used to kick up in my park in the backyard, and we used to pretend we were winning the Super Bowl, things like that. And matter of fact, I was, before the Redskins picked me up, I must have been 24 years old, and I was still up there saying this is a kick for the Super Bowl and putting that pressure on me. So just get out there and work at it.
All right.
Yes,
Your parents been up here to see you?
Yeah, they didn't bring me any food.
You want me to call her and tell Big Buster?
Next time, bring a big old bowl full.
We have
You're
one
welcome.
last question from one of our oldest youngsters.
I see you signing all kinds of things here. I got to check. You like to put your name on it?
I was going to ask you the same thing.
He's always a comedian. Jeff, we really want to, Jess, I'm sorry. We really want to thank you for really taking this time out. I know you could be probably someplace maybe having some Gatorade with some of your friends. You taking all this time to spend with us, we really appreciate it. I think that's really great, and we're really all pulling for you because we don't know what the coaches think, but in our hearts, you're the #1 kicker for us. How about it, friends? #1. Okay. Early on, Frank, I was talking to you about you being a great fan, and I know you are, and I'm sure there's other great fans out there. But you have a lot of memorabilia that you collected over the course of the year. Could we talk about some? I see we have some here that we could discuss.
Yes, a lot of people seem to think that the Redskins only go back into the 70s and so forth. But actually, the Redskins go back to 1937 in Washington, and previously they were in Boston under Mr. George Marshall, and he brought them here to Washington.
Right.
Last year, when we was on our annual trip up here, Mr. Cook, the president of the Redskins, were here, and I went over and spoke to him, and he was very gracious. And I was telling him a few of the things that I had collected over the years, and I told him about my season pass that I bought in 1942 for the Redskins' entire season. It was for 6 games, and the total price at that time was $9.90. $9 for the games, and 90 cents was taxes. Now this pass was for reserve seat in section Q, row 16 in the upper stands at old Griffith Stadium. And the schedule that year was Pittsburgh Steelers, the New York Giants, the Cleveland Rams. A lot of the fans don't know who the Cleveland Rams were, but they're now the Los Angeles Rams, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Chicago Cardinals, which later became the St. Louis Cardinals and now are the Phoenix Cardinals, and the old Brooklyn Dodgers, which are no more. Now, you compare the price today, which is approximately $160, I think, for a season pass, and what this was, $9.90. Also, I told him I had a couple of programs for the Redskin games, and I want to show you this one from Washington Redskins and the Boston Yanks, which are no more. And the total cost of this program was 10 cents. Now, this was in 1946. This game was played, the Washington Redskins and the Boston Yanks.
But then we have some other things up here. I know you're proud of this. See if I can get it. This Redskin football was caught at Griffith Stadium, and it was signed by the 1949 Washington Redskins. This football, in another year, will be 40 years old. And Frank, could you explain some of the names on there?
Oh yes, there's some famous names on this football. Wilbur Moore, as you just mentioned, and it's Tommy Mont.
I see Sammy Ball right there.
Sammy Ball is on here. And with some of the great ball players.
There's an oddity
and
there.
Turk Edwards, which turned out to be the coach of the Redskins. But also there's a little oddity on this football. We have a gentleman by the name of Tiger Walton on this football, his autograph. He played in the days of Sammy Ball. And we have another football here. If Joe will get it out.
Right back here.
This is another one of,
this was the year the Redskins had beat the Colts, and it was 27-24 back in 1959, And I caught this ball after the field goal and beat the Redskins. And back in those days, the Colts used to beat us awful bad. So on this football, we do have a lot of great names that played with that team.
But the thing that holds my interest, on this football, we have the son of Tiger Walton, Joe Walton, that played with the Redskins, later played with the New York Giants, and now is the coach of the New York Jets.
I think we covered most of memorabilia. Like I say, we have a lot more, but these are the highlights. And I think what we'd like to do now is we'd like to wrap up this trip to Carlisle, Pennsylvania. And this trip, I know for a fact, I live in the same household, and this trip doesn't just start overnight. There's a lot of work to it, a lot of preparation, and there's a lot of boys that are disappointed that are not able to go on this trip. So hopefully, if we can, maybe we might expand it and bring more boys, because I think, like Joe Gibbs said, that's what it's all about. It's the youth of this country. And I think, you know, we should form their character now and get them to see how athletes train and what they do and so forth. And what we need to do is do more of these things, and we're proud that our council, the Knights of Columbus, which goes into youth movements like this, that's behind these trips. Not only just doing other things, but we help the youth. And we hope that we can do this again next year. And I know that Frank would like to say something about all the people that were involved. He would like to probably thank a lot of people. So Frank, could you thank some of these people?
Well, the work to me is really joy. I'm glad to do it, and this was one of the best trips we've had. We had such a beautiful bus, air conditioned, TV. We had donations that were given to us that the boys had plenty to eat and drink.
It was a great bus.
It was one of the nicest buses I've ever been on. And I want to thank the Redskin organization. They've been very cooperative with me, and they make it so much nicer to have everything prepared when we get there. Also, I want to thank MetroVision Channel 6, Cable 6A, Mr. Jeff Krulik and Mr. Willis Smith for their cooperation on making this little film for your enjoyment. So also I want to thank everyone else that was involved, especially my council, St. Clement Kill, the Knights of Columbus in Oxon Hill, Maryland. Hope to do this again next year, and maybe someone else in future years will carry this trip on. Thank you very much.
Well, Frank, thank you, and I hope that maybe this trip can continue on for a long time. Even if we're not around, maybe some other younger fellows in our council will carry this thing on, and this trip could keep perpetuating from year to year, and where a lot of young fellows can get a lot of enjoyment out of this. And all I can say is now we had an enjoyable time. We hope to see all of y'all again next year, and thank you very much. The bus has just stopped after a safe trip by a good bus driver by the name of Ted. And we're going to introduce the men and the boys as they get off the bus. And here comes our first person off the bus. His name is Frank Manuel, and he's the organizer of this trip, and he's 3 years older. Welcome to Carlisle, Frank.
Thank you. Back here again for the 29th year, I believe. Anyway, it's a pleasure to be here, and I want you to see each young man as they come off the bus, and they'll tell you who they are. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you very much, Frank. And here they come now. They're coming off the bus, and we're going to try and get every one of these future Redskins to give their name and where they're from. What's your name, son?
Mike McGee. I'm from Temple Hills, Maryland. I'm 14.
Thank you, Mike.
Billy Stiles, Temple Hills, Maryland.
Hold on a minute, Bill. This is your third trip, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, Bill Stiles has been on all 3 trips, and this young man has aspirations to someday maybe some of the kids will be coming up to watching him play. Is that correct, Bill?
Yeah.
Lots of luck, Bill. What's your name, son?
I'm from, my name's Johnny Miles.
And where are you from?
Fort Washington, Maryland.
Okay, thank you. What's your name?
Jamie Hammer.
And how old are you?
11.
Okay, Jamie, thank you. Good, give your name.
My name's Greg Dargish. I'm 9 years old, and I'm from Oakland, Virginia.
Okay, thank you.
My name's Jacob Savage. I'm from Fort Washington, and I just turned 10.
Okay, thank you.
John Wilburn from Waldorf, Maryland, 14.
Okay, thank you, John.
Jason Wilburn, I'm 16. I'm from Waldorf, Maryland.
Okay. I'd like to hold on 1 minute. I'd like to call this young fella back a minute. Okay, I'm sorry, he's not coming back.
Del Trilly from District Heights, 39 years old.
Thank you, Del.
John Castanola, Dumfries, Virginia. You're doing a good job, Joe.
Thank you, John. I like to hear that.
I'm Scott Webster from Waldorf, Maryland, and I'm 10 years old.
I'm Kenny Lanham from Waldorf, Maryland, and I'm 12 years old.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Edgar Garay from Oxon Hill, Maryland, and I'm 12 years old.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Robert Guerrero, and I'm from Oxon Hill, Maryland.
Okay, thank you, man.
Hi, my name is David. I'm from Oxon Hill, Maryland. I'm 11 years old. Thank you.
And here comes another youngster. What is your name, sir?
Floyd Benassi, Temple Hills.
Okay, Floyd, I think you've been up here 2 years, haven't you?
I guess.
And I remember interviewing one time. How do you like this trip compared to the other trip?
This has been a good one. Everything is perfect so far.
Okay, and I think, I don't want to put you on the spot, but you could be one of our oldest youngsters, right?
Yeah, just about 75 and 40 more days.
Okay, well, happy birthday to you in 40-some days. Thank you, Floyd.
Thank you.
What's your name, son?
Justin Conway.
And how old are you?
10.
Okay, thank you. What's your name, son?
DJ.
And where are you from?
Fort Washington.
And how old are you?
I turned 16 2 days ago.
Okay, thank you. Oh, it looks like we got a future Redskin here. What's your name?
My name is Keith Thornton, sir.
Keith Thornton. And how old are you?
16.
And where do you go to school?
McNamara, Bishop McNamara High School.
Do you play football?
Yes, I do.
What kind of season did they have?
McNamara had a 7-3-1 season last year, sir.
And what year are you in?
I'm a junior this year.
Okay, thank you, and lots of luck at football.
Thank you.
And I know this young man coming. 3 years ago, he was kind of skinny and shorter. And now 3 years later, he's a little bigger than I am, in better shape and broader. His name is
Charles Myers, Oxon Hill, age 15.
And you play football, Charlie?
Right, at Bishop McNamara also.
What position are you playing?
Offensive and defensive line.
And what year are you in?
I'm in my junior year.
Okay, well, lots of luck. Thank you. What's your name?
Terrence Thomas.
And Terrence, where do you go to school?
McNamara.
And it looks like you might play football.
Right.
So we got part of the football team here. What position?
Halfback or fullback.
Okay, and we will wish you a lot of luck, okay? Maybe
great.
someday we'll be up here watching the three of y'all trying out for the Redskins.
That'd be cool.
Okay.
All right.
What's your name?
Matthew Potenza.
Matthew Potenza. And where are you from?
I'm from Fort Washington, Maryland.
Fort Washington, Maryland. And I think this is your second year.
Yes, it is.
Your brother's not with you this year.
Yeah, he's at camp.
How do you like this trip?
It's fun.
That's good. Hope you have a good time, Matthew. Your name, son?
Sean Watson.
And how old are you?
12 and a half.
Okay, is this your first time up?
No.
You've been up before?
Yes.
Okay, have a good time. What's your name, son?
Crystal Lorenzo.
And how old are you?
10. And I live in Fort Washington, Maryland.
Okay, thank you. What's your name, son?
Michael Dolan.
Michael Dolan?
Yes.
And where are you from?
Up in Marlboro.
Okay, how old are you?
9.
Thank you very much. What's your name?
Brian Willis.
Okay, Brian Willis, is this your first time up?
Yes.
And is your father Keith Willis?
Yes.
And I know he's a Redskin fan, right? Are you going to get anybody's autograph today?
Yes.
Who?
I don't know.
Okay, anybody you can get, right? Thanks a lot. What's your name, son?
Daniel Owens.
Daniel Owens? And how old are you?
11.
Okay, is this your first time up?
No.
Okay, and I hope you have a good day. What's your name, sir?
Paul Tilch.
What was the name?
Paul Tilch.
Paul Tilch. How old are you?
9 years old.
Okay, and where are you from?
Fort Washington, Maryland.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, son, what's your name?
Michael Lynn.
And Michael Lynn, I believe your father's Dr. Lynn, he's a dentist.
Right.
Is this your first trip to Carlisle?
Sure is.
And I understand a little secret about you. You went to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Boy, you were really lucky. That was one of the greatest games ever, right? Well, I hope you have a nice day up here, Michael.
Okay.
What's your name, son?
Scott McGarrigan.
Okay, Scott, your first time up?
Yes.
Okay, I think you're going to have a good time. What's your name, son?
Steve Novak.
Steve Novak, you're kind of big. Is this your first trip up?
Yes, sir.
And you looking forward to the rest of the day?
Yes, sir.
Where you from?
Waldorf, Maryland.
Okay, have a good day. Your name, son?
Todd Brown.
Todd Brown, your first time up?
Yeah.
How old are you, Todd?
15.
Okay, have a good day.
Okay.
What's your name, son?
Jason.
And you're a big Redskins fan, right, Jason?
Yes.
What's your last name?
Atkins.
How old are you?
9.
Okay, Jason, have a good day. What's your name, son?
Tim Willis.
Tim Willis, how old?
8.
Okay, thank you. What's your name?
Andrew Merkel.
Okay, Andrew, how old are you?
12.
Okay, thank you. What's your name?
Patrick Kinney.
And how old are you?
12.
Okay, thank you. What's your name, son?
Seth Blanford.
And how old are you?
12.
Thank you. How old are you, son?
15.
And what's your name?
Tay.
Ted?
Tay.
Oh, okay. Is this your first time up?
Yeah.
Okay, have a nice day. What's your name, son?
Sean.
Sean what?
Klink.
Okay. And are you been here before?
That's my first time.
Okay, have a good day, okay? And here's a Redskin fan. What's your name?
John Adkins.
And how old are you?
12.
Okay, have a good day, all right? What's your name? Let's see. You look like an old ex-retired Redskin that played back in 30-aught. What is your name, sir?
I'm Leo McDonald. I'm one of the grandfathers that keep a little harmony in the bus.
Okay, and Leo, you take a lot of kidding from us, but I want the people to know one thing about Leo. He can eat pretty good. Thank you, Leo.
Thank you, Joe.
And here's another youngster.
Hi, Joe. How you doing? Happy to be here.
Okay, and hope you have a good day, Dave.
Oh, I will.
Okay,
I will.
thank you. And here comes the last man off that's been having order.
Dick Imes from Temple Hills, Maryland.
Okay, and I know his wife is a school teacher, and Dick's got a toe to line, but he's a Redskin fan, and more or less he's an usher also. Thank you, Dick.
Thank you, Joe.
Okay. And that wraps up all the children, except we have one special little boy I want to bring back in him. What is your name again, son?
Chris DeLorenzo.
And I believe your father is Dr. Lorenzo, is that correct?
Yeah.
Is this your first time up?
Yeah.
Well, are you looking forward to having a good time today?
Yeah.
You're going to get some autographs and take some pictures.
Yeah.
Well, have a good day, and I see your favorite ball player had to be Joe Theismann, right?
Yeah.
Have a good time, Chris. Bye. Okay, that concludes all the children that were on the bus. Thank you very much.